I stare at the ring glinting under the chandelier lights, my stomach twisting into knots as 300 pairs of eyes bore into me. Lucas kneels before me, his perfect smile never wavering, while my mind screams that something isn't right. I'm Gabrielle Turner, and this is the moment my life started unraveling. Will you marry me? Lucas's voice carries across the dead silent ballroom. He's planned this perfectly. My company's annual gala, surrounded by colleagues, clients, and my entire family. The ultimate trap disguised as a fairy tale moment. My father beams from his table, already halfway out of his chair to congratulate us. Mother dabs at her eyes with a napkin. They don't see what I see. The calculated precision in Lucas's eyes. The way his gaze keeps darting to my father instead of focusing on me. My voice catches. 6 months of dating feels too soon, but try explaining that to a room full of people expecting a romantic triumph. Yes, I hear myself say, and the crowd erupts in applause. Lucas slides the ring onto my finger. It's heavy, ostentatious, nothing like what I would have chosen. He kisses me, and I taste the expensive scotch on his breath, wondering if he needed liquid courage or celebration. I can't believe you pulled this off, I whisper as he leads me to the dance floor for our first dance as an engaged couple. I wanted it to be special, he says, but his eyes scan the room, noting who's watching, who's impressed. Your father helped me plan it. Of course he did. Connor Turner, property management mogul, never misses an opportunity for a grand gesture. I catch sight of him shaking hands with his business associates, probably already discussing the merger of our family's fortunes. The music swells, and Lucas pulls me closer. You've made me the happiest man alive, he says, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. His hand presses against my lower back, possessive. It's all happening so fast, I manage, trying to keep my smile in place. When you know, you know. He spins me under the crystal chandeliers. Besides, your father thinks it's perfect timing with the new development project coming up. There it is. That subtle shift in conversation from our future to business opportunities. I should have seen it sooner. Later, during the endless parade of congratulations, Lucas's mother appears. Evelyn Bennett, newly widowed and dressed in designer mourning, kisses my cheek with lips like ice. Welcome to the family, darling, she purrs, her grip on my arm just shy of painful. Lucas needs a strong woman by his side, especially now that his father's gone. Someone who understands the importance of family loyalty. The warning in her words is clear as crystal. I've seen how she controlled her late husband's every move, how she's still pulling strings even after his death. Now she's eyeing me like a new puppet to manipulate. My phone buzzes in my clutch. A message from my best friend. Call me ASAP. Found something about Lucas you need to know. I glance at my new fiancé, watching him charm a group of real estate developers. He catches my eye and winks, raising his champagne glass in a toast. The ring feels heavier by the second, like a handcuff instead of a promise. Excuse me, I murmur to Evelyn. I need some air. She grabs my wrist before I can escape. Remember, dear, you're a Bennett now. We take care of our own. I pull away and head for the terrace, my heart pounding. The message burns in my mind as I dial my friend's number, already dreading what she's discovered. Behind me, through the ballroom windows, I can see Lucas and my father deep in conversation, their heads bent together like conspirators. I should have trusted my instincts. This isn't a proposal, it's a business transaction, and I'm the collateral. The moving boxes aren't even unpacked when Evelyn shows up at our door, 4 Louis Vuitton suitcases in tow. Lucas rushes to help her, leaving me frozen in the doorway of our new penthouse, still holding a box labeled kitchen. Mother, what a surprise, Lucas says, but his tone tells me this isn't a surprise at all. The house feels so empty since your father passed. Evelyn dabs at dry eyes with a silk handkerchief. I thought I'd stay with you newlyweds for a while, just until I find my feet again. My arms tighten around the box. How long is a while? Gabrielle, Lucas cuts in sharply. My mother just lost her husband. 3 months ago, I want to say. 3 months ago, and she seemed fine at our wedding last week, ordering the staff around like a general. But I bite my tongue and watch as Evelyn glides past me, her perfume leaving a suffocating trail. I'll take the guest room with the ensuite, she announces. Lucas, darling, have someone bring up my bags. I set the box down with more force than necessary. That's my home office. Was your home office? Lucas corrects, already pulling out his phone to call the building's concierge. Mother needs her space, sweetheart. You can work from the dining room. Evelyn's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Such a lovely suggestion, dear. Gabrielle hardly needs a whole room just for herself, does she? I retreat to the kitchen, unpacking plates with shaking hands. Through the open door, I hear Evelyn directing Lucas on where to place her things, how to arrange her precious antiques. Our carefully chosen modern decor disappears under her Baroque influence piece by piece. My phone buzzes. Another message from my friend. Did you read what I sent about his finances? Call me. Gabrielle? Evelyn appears in the doorway. I noticed you're using stainless steel cookware. I brought my copper set, much more suitable for a Bennett household. These were wedding gifts, I say, gripping a pan handle. From your mother's side, I assume, she tesks. We'll donate them. Now, about dinner. Lucas mentioned you don't cook much. I'll take over the kitchen duties. A wife should know how to properly feed her husband. I have a career, I remind her, and Lucas never complained about takeout before. Yes, your little marketing job, she waves dismissively. Though now that you're married, you might want to consider… Mother. Lucas appears, loosening his tie. I have that conference call with the Singapore investors. Could you give us a moment? Evelyn retreats, but not before shooting me a look that says this conversation isn't over. You're being rude, Lucas says once we're alone. I'm being rude? Lucas, she's taking over our home. We've been married 8 days, and suddenly your mother is living with us? Lower your voice, he hisses. She needs us right now. Besides, she's offered to help with the down payment on that new development project. I step back. What development project? The one your father mentioned. The waterfront complex? He checks his watch. We'll discuss this later. I need to take that call. Lucas. Later, Gabrielle, and please, make an effort with Mother. Family comes first. I watch him stride away, remembering how charming he seemed 6 months ago. How confident, how independent. Now, I wonder if I ever knew him at all. My phone buzzes again. This time, I open the message from my friend. Found records of massive debt. His last 3 projects failed. Think he's using your dad's company to… Gabrielle? Evelyn calls from the living room. Be a dear and help me rearrange the furniture. This layout simply won't do. I delete the message, my wedding ring catching the light. The same light that now shows the hairline cracks in this perfect facade. Lucas's tense shoulders when money is mentioned. The way he courts my father's business partners. Evelyn's strategic invasion of our space. They think they're so clever, this mother-son duo. They think I'm just the naive wife, the corporate princess who'll play her part in their game. But they don't know me at all. I touch the delicate band on my finger, no longer seeing a symbol of love, but a contract I need to void. Coming, Evelyn, I call out, my voice honey-sweet with promise. Let them think they're winning. For now. The laptop screen glows in the darkness of my makeshift office. The dining room table at 3 a.m. Numbers don't lie, and these numbers tell a story of spectacular failure. 3 bankruptcies, 2 foreclosures, a trail of angry investors spanning 3 states. Lucas Bennett isn't just in debt, he's drowning in it. A floorboard creaks behind me. Can't sleep, dear? Evelyn's voice slides through the darkness like oil on water. I close the laptop, but not fast enough. She's already hovering over my shoulder, her silk robe rustling. Doing some light reading about my son's business ventures? Just catching up on work, I lie, but my hands are shaking. Funny, those looked like bankruptcy filings. She sits across from me, perfectly poised even at this hour. You know, my late husband had a saying about wives who spy on their husbands. And what about husbands who lie to their wives? Her smile turns predatory. Marriage is about trust, Gabrielle, about protecting family interests. Is that what this is about? Family interests? I lean forward. Or is it about using my father's company to bail out Lucas's failed investments? Smart girl. Evelyn reaches across the table, her manicured nails clicking against the wood. But not smart enough to keep your mouth shut, apparently. I'm calling my father tomorrow. No, you're not. Her voice hardens. Because if you do, Lucas's reputation won't be the only thing damaged. Think about your father's company. The scandal when people learn his new son-in-law is bankrupt? The shareholders would panic. Stock prices would plummet. My throat tightens. She's right. A scandal like this would hurt everyone, not just Lucas. Besides, she continues, Lucas has already convinced your father to invest in the waterfront project. The contracts are being drawn up as we speak. The room spins. Without consulting me? Why would they need to consult you? You're just the wife. I stand up so quickly my chair topples backward. I'm a senior executive in my father's company. You're a little girl playing at business, Evelyn snaps. Now, here's what's going to happen. You'll keep quiet about what you've discovered. You'll support Lucas at the investors' meeting next week, and you'll convince your father to fast-track the funding. Or what? Or I'll make sure everyone knows how the Turner princess helped her husband defraud investors. Your signature is on some very interesting documents, my dear. My blood runs cold. I never signed anything. She pulls an envelope from her robe pocket and slides out several papers. Even in the dim light, I recognize my signature. Perfectly forged. Amazing what people can do with technology these days, Evelyn muses. Footsteps approach, Lucas appearing in the doorway in his designer pajamas. Everything all right? I heard voices. Just girl talk, Evelyn says smoothly, tucking the papers away. Gabrielle was telling me how excited she is about the waterfront project. Lucas beams. I knew you'd come around, sweetheart. Wait until you see the plans. Your father's investment will change everything. I look at him, really look at him, and see a stranger. The charming facade has cracked, revealing something desperate and dangerous underneath. Come to bed, he says, holding out his hand. I step back. I need some air. At this hour? Evelyn's voice carries a warning. I'll just be on the balcony. Outside, the city sprawls below, a maze of lights and shadows. My phone feels heavy in my pocket. One call to my father could stop this. But Evelyn's threat echoes in my mind. Those forged documents could destroy my career, my reputation, everything I've worked for. A text lights up my screen. My mother. Dinner tomorrow. Just us girls. I'm worried about you. My fingers hover over the keys. Mom always sees through lies, always knows when something's wrong. But can I risk telling her the truth? Behind me, through the glass doors, I see Lucas and Evelyn in heated discussion. They're looking at papers. Probably more documents waiting for my forged signature. More schemes to steal my father's money. I've never hated anyone before, never understood how rage could burn so cold and clear. But watching them plot, watching them think they've trapped me, something shifts inside me. They want to play games? Fine, but they've forgotten something crucial. I'm not just Lucas's wife or Connor Turner's daughter. I'm Gabrielle Turner, and I didn't climb to senior executive by being naive. Let them think they've won. I've got plans of my own. The investors' meeting room feels like a trap, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering no escape. I sit between Lucas and my father, watching them pass documents back and forth while Evelyn hovers near the refreshment table, playing the gracious hostess. The projections look solid, my father says, his reading glasses perched on his nose. Though the timeline seems aggressive, Lucas leans forward, all practice charm. That's why we need to move quickly. Other developers are eyeing the waterfront. I clear my throat. Have we done environmental impact studies? Already handled, Lucas says smoothly, not meeting my eyes. I'd like to see them. Evelyn materializes behind my chair. More coffee, dear. The cup she sets down sloshes slightly, dark liquid staining the proposal documents. Oh, how clumsy of me. She dabs at the papers, conveniently obscuring the numbers I was scrutinizing. My father's phone buzzes. Excuse me, I need to take this. He steps out, leaving me alone with my tormentors. Stop interfering, Lucas hisses once the door closes. Or what? You'll forge more documents? His face pales. Mother told you, she showed me. Very thorough work, except for one detail. I pull out my phone, displaying a message from our company's legal department. I flagged those signatures as fraudulent this morning. The coffee cup crashes from Evelyn's hands. You stupid girl. The police have been notified, I continue, my voice steady despite my racing heart. They're probably reviewing the evidence right now. Lucas grabs my arm. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your phone. He scrambles for his device, face growing ashen as he reads. Mother, she's contacted the authorities. That's impossible, Evelyn snaps. She wouldn't dare risk. The door opens. My father returns, followed by two men in suits. Not police, worse, SEC investigators. Miss Turner, one says, thank you for your cooperation in this matter. Lucas jumps up. Connor, this is a misunderstanding. Sit down, Mr. Bennett. The investigator's voice could freeze hell. We have some questions about certain financial discrepancies. Evelyn's perfectly manicured nails dig into my shoulder. Whatever she told you is a lie. We're family. Family doesn't commit fraud, I say, shrugging off her grip. And family doesn't threaten family. My father stands very still, his face a mask of controlled fury. Gabrielle, what's going on? Show him, I tell the investigators. Show him what his son-in-law really is. The next hour unravels like a nightmare. For them. Document after document reveals Lucas's scheme. Using my father's reputation to secure investments, planning to siphon funds through shell companies, all while Evelyn managed the paper trail. You've ruined everything, Lucas snarls as the investigators lead him toward the door. I loved you. No, I say, finally seeing him clearly. You loved what I could give you. Evelyn's composure cracks. You ungrateful little... She lunges for me, but security intervenes. My father hasn't spoken since the evidence came out. Now he just looks old, slumped in his chair. Dad, Don't. He holds up a hand. Just don't. I need time to process this. I gather my things, legs shaking as I stand. The room spins slightly, weeks of stress and secrets taking their toll. Miss Turner, one investigator calls after me. We'll need you to come in tomorrow for a formal statement. I nod, unable to speak. In the elevator, I catch my reflection. Pale, determined, changed. The woman who walked into that meeting isn't the same one leaving it. My phone buzzes with a text from Lucas. You'll regret this. Nobody betrays family. I step out into the sunshine, delete his message without responding. Let him threaten. Let him rage. I've stopped being afraid. A car pulls up. My mother, right on time. She takes one look at my face and opens her arms. I knew something was wrong, she whispers as I collapse into the passenger seat. But I never imagined. Take me home, I say, my voice hoarse. Not the penthouse. Home. As we drive away, I watch the office building shrink in the mirror. Somewhere up there, my father is picking up the pieces of his shattered trust. Somewhere across town, Lucas and Evelyn are learning that actions have consequences. And me? I'm learning that revenge doesn't taste like victory. It tastes like freedom. 3 weeks after the SEC investigation begins, I find Evelyn waiting in my office at Turner Properties. She's lost weight, her designer outfit hanging loose, but her eyes still burn with the same cold fire. Security will be here in 2 minutes, I say, not sitting down. They're busy with a disturbance in the lobby. Her smile is razor thin. Arranged by Lucas, of course. We need to talk. I reach for my phone, but she pulls out a USB drive. Before you call anyone, you might want to see what's on this. More forged documents. Emails between your father and Lucas dating back 8 months before your engagement. She sets the drive on my desk. Turns out Daddy Dearest knew about Lucas's financial troubles all along. He thought marriage would stabilize the situation. My hand freezes above the phone. You're lying. Read them yourself. Your father practically arranged the whole thing. Why do you think he was so eager to have Lucas propose at that company event? The room tilts sideways. I steady myself against the desk, remembering my father's beaming face during the proposal, his quick acceptance of Lucas into the family. The SEC investigation is destroying both families, Evelyn continues, but we can still fix this together. Fix what? Your son's crimes? Business arrangements that went sideways. Nothing more. She stands, smoothing her skirt. Lucas is willing to take full responsibility. Keep your father's name clean. In exchange, you convince the investigators that you were mistaken about certain details. A knock at the door makes us both jump. My assistant pokes her head in. Miss Turner, your father wants to see you in the conference room. Tell him I'll be there shortly. Evelyn's lips curve. Perfect timing. Think carefully about your next move, dear. Family secrets should stay in the family. She glides out, leaving the USB drive like a bomb on my desk. My fingers shake as I plug it in, scanning email after email. Each one confirms my worst fears. My father knew everything. He didn't just allow Lucas's deception, he orchestrated it. The conference room door feels heavier than usual. Inside, my father stands at the window, his reflection fractured across the glass. The SEC wants to expand the investigation, he says without turning. They're looking into past projects now. How long? What? How long did you know about Lucas? About what he and Evelyn were planning? His shoulders stiffen. Gabrielle, don't. My voice cracks. I have the emails. He finally faces me, looking older than I've ever seen him. Everything I did was to protect this company, to protect you. By selling me to a con man? By securing our future. Lucas had potential. He just needed guidance. He needed a rich wife and a gullible father-in-law. The words explode out of me. And you gave him both. My father reaches for me, but I back away. Sweetheart, please. We can still contain this. If you just tell them you were mistaken. Like mother and son suggested. I laugh, the sound harsh even to my ears. You're all the same. Using me, manipulating me, expecting me to play my part. I'm your father? No. I pull off my company ID badge, drop it on the conference table. You're just another businessman protecting his interests. His face drains of color. What are you doing? What I should have done months ago. I'm choosing myself. I walk out, past my assistant's concerned face, past Evelyn's triumphant smirk in the lobby. Outside, the city stretches before me, vast and uncertain. My phone buzzes. Lucas calling again? Instead of ignoring it, I answer. Changed your mind about the deal? He sounds smug. Actually, yes. I start walking, each step lighter than the last. I'm going to the SEC right now, going to tell them everything, including what's on that USB drive. Let's see how the press reacts when they learn the great Connor Turner sold his daughter to save his company. Gabrielle, wait. I hang up, block his number, and hail a cab. Behind me, Turner Properties reaches into the sky, casting a shadow I'm finally ready to step out of. The driver meets my eyes in the rearview mirror. Where to? SEC offices, I say, watching my father's empire shrink in the distance. Time to burn it all down. The annual real estate development gala feels like a funeral dressed in evening wear. Everyone knows about the SEC investigation, but they're all pretending nothing's wrong, sipping champagne and avoiding eye contact with both the Turner and Bennett families. I adjust my black dress, funeral appropriate after all, and watch Lucas work the room. He's still playing the charming heir apparent, but his smile doesn't quite reach his eyes anymore. Evelyn hovers nearby, her designer gown hanging loose on her frame, whispering to potential investors who keep finding reasons to drift away. My father hasn't shown up. Smart man. Ready? My mother asks, squeezing my arm. She's the only one who knows what's coming. I nod, gripping my clutch where the USB drive sits like a loaded gun. The investigation is ongoing, but tonight isn't about legal justice. It's about truth. Lucas spots me across the room. His face hardens, then smooths into that practiced smile as he approaches. Gabrielle, I didn't expect to see you here. Wouldn't miss it. After all, you're announcing the waterfront project tonight, aren't you? Something flickers in his eyes. Uncertainty, maybe fear. We've postponed that announcement. No, I say, moving toward the small stage where the microphone stands. We haven't. He grabs my wrist. Whatever you're planning, let go of me. My voice carries just enough for nearby guests to turn. Unless you want to make another scene, Evelyn materializes beside us. Darling, you're causing a spectacle. Good. I pull free, climbing the stage steps. The room quiets as I tap the microphone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Gabrielle Turner Bennett, though not for much longer. Lucas starts forward, but my mother blocks his path. Evelyn's face goes ash white. Many of you know about the SEC investigation into Bennett Development, I continue. But you don't know everything. Tonight I'd like to share some emails between my father and my husband, discussing how to use my marriage to save both their companies. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. I plug the drive into the presentation laptop, and the first email appears on the massive screen behind me. Lucas needs a legitimate connection to Turner Properties. I read aloud. My daughter would be perfect. She's smart enough to help run things, naive enough to trust him. I looked directly at Lucas. My father wrote that 3 months before you proposed. The crowd's whispers grow louder. Lucas storms toward the stage, but security, quietly arranged beforehand, steps in his way. You're ruining everything, he shouts. We could have fixed this. Fixed what? The fraud, the lies, or just the part where you got caught? Evelyn pushes through the crowd. Think about what you're doing to your father's reputation. My father chose his reputation over his daughter. Now he can live with the consequences. I click through more emails, each one more damning than the last. The room erupts in shocked conversations and hurried phone calls. Investors practically run for the exits. Lucas finally breaks through security, grabbing the microphone. It wasn't like that. I loved you, love you. Everything I did was for us. No, I step back, letting him have the stage. Everything you did was for yourself. And now everyone knows exactly who you are. He lunges for me, mask finally shattering. You vindictive bitch! Security tackles him as cameras flash. Tomorrow's headlines write themselves. Bennett heir attacks wife at charity gala. I walk off stage, legs shaking but spine straight. Evelyn blocks my path one last time. We're still family, she hisses. You can't just... Family. I laugh, the sound echoing through the shocked silence. Family doesn't sell each other. Family doesn't forge signatures or steal inheritances or arrange marriages like business deals. I'll destroy you. Try, but do it quickly. I hear prison visiting hours are limited. I push past her, past the staring crowds and whispered judgments. My mother falls into step beside me as we head for the exit. Behind us, Lucas's voice rises in desperation. Gabrielle, please. I don't look back, can't look back. Because despite everything, despite knowing exactly what he is, some small part of me still remembers believing in him. And that's the part I need to kill tonight, along with every other naive dream I ever had about family and loyalty and love. The night air hits like a slap as we step outside. My mother squeezes my hand. You did it. No, I whisper, watching Lucas being led out in handcuffs, Evelyn crying dramatically for the cameras. I'm just getting started. The penthouse feels smaller now, all of Evelyn's Baroque touches stripped away, leaving empty spaces like missing teeth. Lucas sits at our former dining room table, my makeshift office once, looking nothing like the man who proposed to me a year ago. His designer suit is wrinkled, his hair unkempt. Sign the papers, I say, sliding the divorce agreement across the table. He doesn't touch them. They're freezing our assets. I know. Everything I built, everything I worked for. You mean everything you stole? I remain standing, keeping the table between us. Everything you manipulated out of my father and his investors? I had plans. His fist slams the table. Real plans, not just schemes. That waterfront project could have changed everything. It already has? He runs his hands through his hair, a gesture so familiar it makes my chest ache. Your father reached out yesterday, offered to help if we agree to certain terms. Of course he did. I pull out my phone, set it to record. What terms? A joint statement. Say it was all a misunderstanding, that the SEC investigation revealed no wrongdoing. His eyes take on that old sparkle. We could start fresh, rebuild together. With you in control of my shares? His silence is answer enough. You really don't get it, do you? I laugh, the sound hollow in the empty room. This isn't about money anymore. Then what is it about? He stands, desperation making him dangerous. Revenge? Teaching me a lesson? You've done that. You've won. Won? I back away as he rounds the table. My father sold me like a corporate asset. My husband used me as collateral. His mother forged my signature on documents that could have ruined me. Tell me, Lucas, what exactly have I won? We can fix this. Stop saying that. My voice cracks. Some things can't be fixed. Some betrayals don't heal. He reaches for me, but I dodge, putting the kitchen island between us. Remember our first date? He asks. That little Italian place in the village. You were wearing a blue dress, laughing at my terrible jokes. I remember wondering why someone like you would be interested in me. My hand finds the knife block. Now I know. You were casing your mark. It wasn't all lies. He steps closer. I loved you. Still love you. No. You loved what I represented. Access, legitimacy, a perfect corporate wife to complete your image. Gabrielle, did you practice my name before we met? Perfect the right tone of sincerity? My fingers curl around a knife handle. Or did my father coach you on how to win me over? His face darkens. You want the truth? Fine. Your father approached me, said his daughter needed someone ambitious, someone who could match her drive. But he was wrong about one thing. What's that? You're not driven. You're cruel. He lunges suddenly, grabbing my wrist. Everything I did for us, but you? You're destroying lives just to prove a point? The knife clatters to the counter as we struggle. Let go. Or what? You'll call security? The SEC? Daddy? His grip tightens. Face it, you're nothing without the connections I gave you. I slam my knee up, catching him in the groin. He doubles over and I run, but he recovers quickly, grabbing my ankle. We crash to the floor. Just sign the papers, he growls, pinning me down. Sign them, and this all goes away. The recording app is still running on my phone, scattered nearby. I reach for it, but he sees my movement, realizes what I've done. Still plotting? He grabs the phone. Still trying to destroy what's left of my life? You destroyed it yourself. I spit the words. I just made sure everyone saw the real you. He raises his hand, to grab me or hit me, I'll never know. Because that's when the penthouse door bursts open. Police officers flood in, weapons drawn. Lucas Bennett, you're under violation of the restraining order. Step away from Mrs. Turner. He releases me, raising his hand slowly. She invited me here. To sign divorce papers, I say, standing shakily. With my lawyer present, who's running late but apparently called the police right on time. As they lead him away, he looks back once. I really did love you. No, I whisper, watching him disappear into the elevator. You loved the idea of me, and that's what finally brought you down. The newspaper sits untouched on my desk, its headline stark against the white paper. Bennett sentenced, real estate heir gets 5 years for fraud. Below a smaller headline reads, Turner Properties announces leadership changes. My office door opens, my new office, in a different building, with a different company. My mother enters carrying 2 cups of coffee. The movers are done at the penthouse, she says, setting a cup in front of me. Everything's in storage except what you wanted kept out. I nod, finally picking up the paper. Lucas's mugshot stares back at me, that familiar, charming smile replaced by something harder, colder, real. Evelyn called again, Mom continues. Says she wants to make amends. From her son's beach house in the Hamptons? I fold the paper, hiding Lucas's face. Amazing how much property they managed to hide in her name. The SEC is still investigating those transfers. Let them, I'm done fighting their battles. Mom sits across from me, her face soft with concern. Have you talked to your father? No. I turn to the window, watching construction crews work on a new development across the street. He made his choice. So did I. He's selling the company, retiring early. Of course he is. The scandal destroyed his reputation, if not his fortune. Another casualty of my revenge. Or maybe just justice finally catching up to everyone. I got another job offer this morning, I say, changing the subject. A startup looking to revolutionize affordable housing. They want someone who understands both marketing and real estate. And someone who stood up to corporate corruption? Mom's smile is knowing. Something like that. My phone buzzes. A text from Lucas's number, though he's not supposed to have phone access in prison. Probably Evelyn using his old phone to try another manipulation. I delete it without reading it. You know what Lucas said to me that last day in the penthouse? I turn back to my mother. He said I was cruel, that I destroyed lives just to prove a point. And what do you think? I open my desk drawer, pull out the divorce papers. Finally signed. Finally final. I think sometimes justice looks like cruelty to the people who deserve it. And sometimes, Mom says gently, revenge looks like justice to people who've been hurt. She's right, of course. The line between justice and revenge blurred long ago. somewhere between discovering Lucas's lies and exposing my father's betrayal. Maybe there never was a line at all. A knock at the door interrupts my thoughts. My assistant enters with a folder. The contracts for the affordable housing project, Miss Turner. They need your decision by tomorrow. I take the folder, thinking about choices and consequences, about buildings that look perfect from the outside but rot from within, about starting over. One more thing, my assistant adds. There's a woman in reception, says she's your mother-in-law, former mother-in-law. Mom starts to rise, but I shake my head. Tell her Miss Turner is in a meeting and that all future communication should go through my lawyer. After my assistant leaves, Mom gives me a long look. You don't want to hear what she has to say? I already know what she'll say. That Lucas is sorry, that they've changed, that family should forgive family. I stand, walking to the window again. But that's the thing about family. Real family doesn't need forgiveness because real family doesn't betray you in the first place. I watch Evelyn exit the building below, her designer clothes now slightly outdated, her proud posture slightly bent. She pauses on the sidewalk, looks up at the rows of windows. I step back, though she couldn't possibly see me from here. The new project breaks ground next month, I say, turning back to my desk. Affordable housing where the waterfront development was supposed to be. Something good coming from something corrupt. Mom squeezes my hand. Sounds like justice to me. I pick up the contracts, uncap my pen. Below, Evelyn disappears into a taxi. Not a luxury car service anymore. The construction crews continue their work across the street, tearing down old structures to build something new. Sometimes that's all you can do. Tear it all down and start again. Not for revenge, not even for justice, but for the simple, powerful act of reclaiming your own story. I sign my name, my real name, my only name, and close the folder. Time to build something of my own.